Let's get creative. Hey guys, today we are going to create an awesome galaxy space scene. I want you to get your mixing palette and silver and blue, and we're going to be starting with our large flat brush. I have a little bit of water on my brush, or you can use a mixing tray. So I'm taking that silvery blue and I'm going to be adding just some really cool different shades of that silvery blue in the corner of my canvas. You're going to learn a few techniques today, including how to blend a color to another color. Instead of having a straight line, we're not going to paint a rainbow sky, but instead we're going to have a cool blend from the blues and purples. Now I'm painting on a stretch canvas. If you have a wood frame behind your canvas, that means it's stretched. So you can wrap your paint color around the side and paint the edges. Some artists like to do that. So when you hang it on the wall, it has that nice finished edge, or you can leave it raw. Just your preference. Now every time I'm getting more paint on my brush, I'm dipping it into the water, and then I'm getting more paint. And that helps the paint glide onto the canvas. Now here I'm adding a little bit of black and blue. I'm going to start on a new section of the canvas, and notice how I'm brushing left to right, like swishing marks. I start on the raw canvas and then I bring that dark color into the light blue, and then I bring it back down. So that's how you blend the two colors together. You're going to clean your brush off with a little bit of moisture. You can take that clean brush and brush over the two colors, brushing into one color and then brushing out, and that will slowly blend the two colors together. Now I'm going to be making a deep violet. So I'm going to take that deep blue and add some red to it. I'm dabbing that purple onto the canvas in a new space, and then I'm brushing it into that deep blue. I'm blending those two colors together, getting more paint, or getting more water on my brush and then more paint. It's really hard to blend colors if you don't have enough moisture. So keep in mind when you're trying to blend a few colors and make a smooth transition that you have enough water. Notice on my canvas it's really dry right now and it looks really fuzzy. That's when I know I need just some water on my brush, and that will help blend those colors all together. Feel free to turn your canvas when you need to. The cool thing about a galaxy artwork is your canvas may start in a landscape position, but it may end in a portrait style, because there's so many new textures we're going to explore today. And we're going to have some cool colors blending and transitioning into new textures. So you never know what the top is going to be and what the bottom will end up. It's pretty cool. It's a fun artwork to do. Here I just got some more water on my brush in silver. I'm going to put a light section in that sky and blend that silver into the violet on the right and get some pure blue on the left. Notice how I'm overlapping my strokes. To blend one of the blue colors into another color, you have to overlap. So I'm just going over a few sections again with a few dry brush strokes to blend it a little bit more and give it a softer texture or a softer appearance. I'm going to add some color to my edges. have a little bit of red on my large brush, and now I'm going to brighten up that purple section. If your purple section looks really good, then you can leave it. I'm just going to be touching up some sections and making them a little bit more vibrant. Now I'm going to take my sponge and add some fun silver texture. I'm not going to get my sponge wet. I'm just going to dip it into the silver paint and then I'm going to offload it, which means I'm going to dab it onto my mixing tray or dry section of my towel, and then I'm going to add some silver dabs. I'm just adding some cool marks in my sky. Remember, it's a galaxy sky, so anything goes. Have fun with this, guys. If you want to experiment with a different color other than silver, dip your sponge in that and dab away. Don't forget to occasionally turn your canvas and look at it from a different point of view. You can add some interesting textures and new areas by just turning your canvas and noticing a section that you didn't see before. Now it's time to have fun with some stars. We're going to be using a bristle brush. However, the brushes that came in your acrylic pack are synthetic. You can use these bristles, but just make sure that you take your finger and you rub the bristles back and forth until they're super dry and separated. So having those separated bristles are going to make more flicks onto your canvas. So now I'm going to take my tabletop easel and move it away and kind of rest my canvas laying down, because this will prevent flicks from going everywhere on the wall. So I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to be pulling the bristles up. Notice my finger is pulling them up towards me. There we go. Now you can see. I'm flicking the bristles, and every time I'm flicking them up, the stars are going onto the canvas. Your finger will get dirty, but that's okay. Otherwise, a new technique is to get a little bit more runny white paint onto your brush, and then you tap your brush over one of your fingers, and that's going to create bigger stars or bigger droplets. You can even take your little brush and add some bigger stars by tapping that fluid white onto your canvas. So the way that the paint flicks the best is if it's slightly watered down. If your flicking isn't working, make sure you have a tiny bit of water mixed into a little puddle of white, and then you can do your flicking. Go ahead and wash your hands when you're done. Wash out your brush and let that background dry. If you have a lot of dabs on your canvas and really thick dabs of paint, they may start to drip. It may look really cool, or you may want to lay your canvas flat on the table. My drips are fairly small, so they're okay to stand straight up on the canvas. Now I'm going to be using my pointy round brush. I'm going to be using pure white, and I'm just going to make some of those stars into bigger stars by making a crisscross and then an X. So have fun making different star shapes throughout your galaxy. You may want to draw a 5 or 6 pointed star, or do a 7 pointed star like Australia. Feel free to turn your canvas and find where you think the top and bottom are going to be. Now it's time to add some planets. feel free to grab a few different circular shapes from around your house. I'm using an old tape roll as one of my stencils, and I'm going to decide where I want to put my first planet. Here's a Tupperware lid, and I'm just going to put a big sun in the corner, or maybe a different planet. So you can vary your shapes. All you're going to do is hold that stencil real tightly to that canvas and then do your outline. Carefully remove your circle so you don't drag that paint across that background. Here I'm painting the inside of the line, or you can do the outside of the stencil, whatever works for you. But just try to vary the size of the shape. You don't want all the same size planets. And notice how some of my planets or circles are overlapping the edge of my canvas. It just gives the viewer more interest. Notice I'm using the bottom of my paint container. Anything goes, guys. So now I have a small, medium, and large planet. Now you get to choose what colors you're going to paint your planets. Anything goes. Remember, this is your galaxy, your space. You get to choose. My first planet, I'm starting with a flat red. I'm painting a nice layer of paint on the inside with nice sharp edges. Notice how I'm painting nice and slowly when I get to the side. It's because you want a nice crisp edge. If you can't get a nice smooth solid line, then get a tiny bit of water on your brush, get some more paint, and then go slowly on that outline, putting a nice layer of paint. I'm rinsing off my brush before I choose a new color. Now for this larger circle, I'm going to decide to use this as my moon. You can use yours as the sun or another large planet. I'm going to fill mine with white and silver. Again, getting that really nice, sharp, crisp edge. And then filling it in completely. Notice how I'm wrapping my color around that, around the side of the canvas. If you're doing that, you can do that too. And it looks really cool when it's hanging on the wall, having that planet color wrapping around like it's never ending. I'm going to take the edge of my sponge, I'm going to dip it into the white paint and start adding some nice crater texture into that moon. Now dip your sponge into some silver and have fun adding some shadows on the moon too. Some people say that you can see a shape on the moon, depending on where you are in the earth. Some people see a bunny or a man. Or you might not even be doing a moon. You might be doing a large planet and you're about to put a big ring around it. I chose to do a moon because it's going to give out a light source. So it's going to help me decide where the highlights of my other planets are going to go and where I'm going to place my shadows. I got a little bit of silver drug in my hand, so now I'm just touching that up with my brush. All good. Remember, you can always remove paint too. So if you make a mistake, you don't always have to cover it up with paint. You can always take it off with a little bit of clean water on your brush. But here I chose just to add a little bit of dark paint around to blend that in. I had a little bit too much moisture on my brush when I started rubbing around. So sometimes you take off paint, sometimes you can take off too much paint. So here I'm just trying to fix up that area with a little bit of brushwork and a little bit of sponge dabbing. But in the end, you really need to let that area just dry before you try to repair it. I'm going to go back to my moon and just touch up that edge and then wash my brush out completely. Every time I wash my brush, I'm bopping it down in the bottom of the water canister like it's jumping on a trampoline. And that's going to clean out the bristles completely, and then you wipe it on the towel. So because the next planet I'm going to be mixing a new color, I don't want any of that old red in there. I want a really pretty bright green. So I'm going to mix up some yellow and some blue. I'm going to have a green planet. Now because it's across the moon, it's going to be bright green on this side and a darker green or even blue color on the opposite side. I'm going to add a little bit of white to the moon side of that planet to give it a nice highlight. And then remember, on the opposite side of highlights, you're going to get shadows. So I'll make the other side of that planet a little bit darker. I'm going to move on to my red planet and add a little bit of a highlight. I mixed up a little bit of red, yellow, and white to make a really light peach color to give that highlight on the red planet. I'm just using a really soft dry brush to blend that into the planet to give it the illusion of it being a three-dimensional sphere. Adding a tiny bit of blue to my brush. I'm blending the bottom edge of the red planet, so now it looks like a really deep purple shadow on that backside. Continue smoothing over that planet with a clean, dry brush until you have a nice, soft blend from the highlights down to the shadows. Make sure all your planets are equally highlighted and shaded, and then we're ready for the next step. So once you're done adding your highlights and shadows, I just added a few little streaky lines behind some of my stars to make them look like shooting stars. I'm going back to my planet to add a little bit more shading. Now in this green planet, I'm going to change that into Saturn. I'm going to add some rings. So to make it look like it's going around the planet, you're going to start on the left side, adding a curved line, going across the planet, and painting a curved line to give it that illusion that it's going around all the way. So you don't draw that back line through the planet, but instead you stop, and the planet's going to be overlapping that back line. So do a few more rings. If you wanted to change colors, you can do that and add a few streaky lines. Here I'm just using the black, white, and I get a little bit of silver in there too. I'm using my medium flat brush for the rings, but you can also use your small pointy round brush. Here I've just changed to my small pointy, adding those thin white highlights. Now you can add anything else in the background to personalize this galaxy scene. What about an astronaut? What about another planet? What about a meteor? Make it unique, make it your own. Make sure to add your signature in the corner, and I like to add the year, 2-1, to remind me when I made it. I hope you guys enjoyed painting a really cool galaxy scene. I hope you learned a few new techniques. We would love to see what you created. If you guys want to tag us at The Seed CW on Instagram. We'll check you later. Bye.